What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. I am Dial here with a Halloween themed movie review. So I put a poll on my community tab asking you guys which Halloween themed movie franchise you guys want me to cover for the month of October. It was between Predator, Evil Dead, Scream, and Halloween. And unanimously, you guys have voted for me to cover the Halloween franchise. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to cover the canon Halloween movies. We're going to talk about the original that came out in 1978. We're going to talk about Halloween 2018. We're going to talk about Halloween Kills. And then we'll end things off with Halloween Ends. So I know that kind of disappointed some of you. I'm sure some of you expected for me to cover the non-canon Halloween films like Halloween 2, Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, Halloween Water, Halloween Resurrection, maybe even the Rob Zombie Halloween movies. But no, that's too much Halloween. I don't think I'll have time to cover all of those in this month. So we're just going to keep things simple. We're going to talk about the main four canon films, and that's how it's going to go. Who knows? I might go back and cover the non-canon Halloween movies in the future. We'll see how it goes. But without further ado, let's talk about the original Halloween that came out in 1978, directed by the legendary John Carpenter. So, I don't think John Carpenter needs an introduction. I think we all know his impact on the film genre. He's definitely one of the biggest influences in, you know, filmmaking in general. He's behind great works such as The Thing, The Fog, Escape from New York, Big Trouble in Little China. So overall, he's definitely a really great director, especially when it comes to the horror genre. He definitely has left his mark. And Halloween, for a lot of people, they say that Halloween is probably his magnum opus. A lot of people love this original Halloween film. For a lot of people, they consider this to be one of their favorite horror films in general, and it definitely paved the way for the slasher genre. So, would it surprise people if I said that the Halloween movies are a bit overrated? Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I gotta be honest with you guys. I gotta be real. Look, I'm not saying that the original Halloween movie is bad. It definitely isn't. I definitely see why Halloween is an influential horror movie. And yes, it definitely paved the way for the slasher genre. So I have to acknowledge its impact. But for me, the Halloween movies have never really been my favorite when it comes to horror films. And as far as Michael Myers is one of the big horror icons, he's never really been my favorite. I feel like I lean more towards other horror icons like Freddy Krueger or Jason or even Pinhead from Hellraiser. It's like I feel like they're more impactful than Michael Myers. But once again, Michael Myers I don't think is bad, and I definitely see why people love him. But just for me, it's just I don't know. I never really loved the Halloween movies like that. Even back when I first watched it when I was younger, I did really like it at the time, but I still didn't consider that to be my favorite. And now watching it today, there are more things that I noticed from the original Halloween that doesn't really hold up that well. I don't know. Overall, I think Halloween 1978 is a good movie, but I don't think that it's great. But I'll get into my reasons momentarily. But let me start with the things that I did like. As far as John Carpenter as a director, I don't think he misses. As far as his direction, and I think he's second to none when it comes to his direction. Even when he's given chump change to work with, the budget for the original Halloween movie is like $300,000. That's nothing compared to how much it takes to make a movie now, when it's like in the millions of dollars. So it's crazy that John Carpenter was able to do as much as he can with such a little budget, and this is no exception. What I love about John Carpenter's movies in general, that's also in this movie, is that he is one of the masters at building atmosphere and tension. He allows scenes to breathe, like with movies nowadays, it feels like it needs to go really fast. It needs to have like this really quick pace, and everything has to be loud and and just big and stuff like that, and like you got to have score and action and all this going on. But with John Carpenter, especially with this first Halloween movie, he was not afraid to just let scenes play out. He's not afraid to have slow moments. He's not afraid to just have us take in the scenes and the world itself. There are literally scenes where you just see people just walking down the street or just talking, and and just taking in the scenery and the atmosphere. It's like a lot of movies are afraid to do that, to just like let scenes breathe, like slow things down. There's not even like a lot of music, and score going on in the background. There is score in this movie, and like one thing that surprises me is that John Carpenter not only directed this movie, but he wrote it and he did the score for it. So he did the trifecta on this film, which I was, definitely give him props on doing that, because you don't really see that nowadays. That a director is, he's directing, he's writing, and doing the score. You don't really see that happen a lot nowadays. But yeah, the score, like there is a score in here, but it's like it's used sparingly. You know, there's just scenes playing out where there's no music going on, and I think that really helps to build atmosphere and tension. There's like some sort of like eerie creepiness that that's added to the film because of that. While score is very important for a film, like it's good that you know when to incorporate music into a scene. It kind of reminds me of like Quentin Tarantino, where he doesn't use score for all of his scenes and he lets stuff breathe and just build tension and stuff like that. So I thought he does that really well in this movie. As far as Michael Myers himself, I thought he was good in this movie. I think he is definitely an imposing figure. And what I actually kind of appreciate in this film that I feel is kind of lost in all the sequels is that, he's Michael Myers is a figure that works like in silence, like hiding in the darkness. Like when he's going after someone, he does a good job of like not leaving a trail behind him. Like he knows when he doesn't want to be seen. He knows when he wants to be seen. Like he knows when to work in silence, and just like that's something I really appreciate, because like when it comes to certain horror icons today, it's like they feel like they have to be larger than life, and they want to be like out in the open all the time, and it's like Michael Myers doesn't really do that in this movie. Like he's very creepy in the shadows. Like half most of the time people aren't even aware that he's there, which adds to the creepiness of the movie, which I definitely respected. And what I guess is kind of a good thing and a bad thing in this movie is that when it comes to his actual kills, they're not really over the top. There's not really a lot of blood in this movie, which I guess I do respect, because like for a lot of slashers, they feel like they have to be very creative with the deaths. There got to be a lot of blood and gore and stuff like that. And I feel like in this movie, they definitely, they pulled back a lot with how violent Michael Myers could be. But at the same time, it's like I feel like it doesn't really leave that much of an impact now, seeing how not only where Michael Myers ends up in the franchise, but like how other like slashers are more creative with their deaths, and it leaves more of like a shocking impact. Like in this movie, I don't feel like the deaths are like that shocking, because as I said, Michael Myers is working so much in secret. He doesn't want to leave like a trail of blood in the crime scene, which I guess is kind of smart for Michael. Like he doesn't feel the need to like leave a bloody trail everywhere he goes to make it easier for people to find him. But at the same time, it's just like, seeing how more impactful other like horror films are with their deaths and like how creative their kills are, I can't help but feel like this movie could have done more as far as like how we remember how the deaths are. Like it's mostly just strangling, or like when he does stab people, it's not really that bloody or whatever. I don't know. Because like another thing though is like I feel like with the Halloween sequels that we end up getting, they get more and more violent and bloody as they go along, and then it starts getting really excessive. And I feel even with like the David Gordon Green Halloween movies, I feel like there are moments that they get a bit excessive as well. So it's like maybe there could have been a better way to find a happy medium. I don't know. I wish they were able to do that, but like, yeah, with this one, I felt like while I do respect that it wasn't trying to be super violent, it also didn't really feel that memorable as far as like his deaths. But talking about like the actual like main characters that we follow, of course we got to talk about Jamie Lee Curtis as Lori. I think she's fine. She's fine. I didn't find her great, but I didn't think she was bad. I think my main problem with Lori is that I don't really get to know her that much as a person. I mean, we know that she's book smart and she's kind of a nerd. She's a bit of an introvert. She likes hanging out with her girlfriends. She smokes every now and then, and she's a babysitter. That's pretty much all we know about her. Like, we don't really get to know that much about her psyche, or like what makes her tick. Like, we don't really get to see that much of her personality, honestly. Like, there could have been more that, they could have done with Lori. And it's like, what I wanted to know is why is Michael Myers going after her specifically? What makes her so special? I don't know. It just felt strange that Michael Myers, out of all the victims he could have chosen to go after, because he's in a town. I just didn't understand why Michael Myers would go after Laurie specifically. Maybe it's just that that Myers found something. She was infatuated by her just because he's crazy, which I guess is okay. But I personally just wanted to find something a little bit more, something that gave a little bit more of a reason why they would go after Laurie specifically. And then speaking of undercooked characters, the Doctor Samuel Loomis, played by Donald Pleasance, I felt like he was definitely underutilized, especially because it seems that Michael Myers was his client at a insane asylum or something like that. Because he escaped from there. So I wish we saw a little bit of backstory of like how did Myers ended up being under the watch of Loomis, and just seeing how Loomis was trying to he was trying to handle Michael Myers while he was still locked up. I don't know. And I know that the Rob Zombie movies do cover that uh in very excruciating detail in those movies, which kind of ruins the mysticism of Michael Myers because they put in too much backstory with him. But like for this movie, I just didn't feel like there was enough. It's just like he's just a faceless killer, and that's it. If you're gonna have the doctor there, I just wish that we got a little bit more from him. We did have that opening sequence of Michael Myers as a kid in the beginning that gave us a little bit of a glimpse of how crazy he was. But like then we just have an immediate time skip to him as an adult with the mask on, so it's just like that's all we really get from him. So I don't know. I wish there was more from that too. Overall, I just think the kills, as I said, could have been better. Honestly, there's not really a lot going on in this movie. For there's like a good 55 minutes of this film where we don't see Michael go after Laurie. Like there's some little stuff here and there that Myers does, but like we don't really get that big like suspenseful sequence with Myers going after Laurie until literally like almost an hour into the movie. This movie's only an hour and a half, by the way. And for like the first hour of the movie, we're just following Laurie doing her everyday stuff with their girlfriends and babysitting, and that's pretty much it, which I guess is kind of good for people, if they want to get like a good sense of the world, like, and develop, enough time for you to care about the main characters that we're following by the time Myers goes after them. But like, I don't know, I just wish they could have done a little bit more as far as like just, you know, feeling the urgency of the situation, because it didn't feel like there was a lot of urgency in the first hour. They just saved all the really intense stuff for like literally the last 30 minutes or so, maybe even less. But I don't know. I guess you could call me kind of antsy, because I did feel a bit antsy watching this. I think there could have been a little bit more they could have done, a little more substance in the film instead of just atmosphere building, which is important, but like they could have just done more with than just seeing people walk and talk and the police investigating stuff. And I don't know, I just felt like there could have been more urgency. There wasn't really enough for me. I don't know. And as I did establish earlier that this movie was made for chump change, so I'm not expecting this movie to look, like great or anything. And even for the budget that I have, it does look like it is shot really well for the most part. But there were a couple of moments where I felt like the editing was a bit clunky, like as far as staging of sequences. Like there's an example like towards the end of the movie where Myers was going after Lori in the house, and they were upstairs, and like I don't know, there was just like this weird cut of Lori just walking up the stairs and slowly walking and just like being vigilant of wherever Michael is was gonna pop up, and then there was just this weird jump cut of Michael appearing out of nowhere, and then Lori's falling off the second floor. It was just jarring stuff like that where it's like the editing could have been better. But once again, I try to give it the benefit of the doubt because not a lot of money was given to this movie, so it's like it's weird abrasive editing like that where it's like scenes weren't really stitched together as fluent as it should have been. And with the score, like I feel like the score was like a bit generic in places because it feels like John Carpenter was playing the same Halloween theme over and over again, and even in moments where it didn't really need to be there. I felt like there was only like three music spots in the entire movie. Like there were three different types of scores going on throughout the entire film, and I didn't feel like there was enough variety. But once again, giving that the benefit of the doubt because John Carpenter was doing the music himself, and of course, like the main Halloween theme is a very iconic theme for the Halloween franchise and like horror films in general. Like I know how iconic that song is, so I'm trying not to to harp on it too much. And like even like the opening title sequence, I think is great. Like the jack o' lantern in the on the side, and like just the credits rolling on the right beside it. It's an iconic opening sequence, though. I'm not gonna lie, but just I wish there was more variety with the score. That's all I'm saying. So yeah, overall, I don't know. There's not really too much to say about it. As far as like, the kids were good. I liked Lindsay and Tommy. They were good kid actors in here. Laurie's friends like Annie, they were cool. There's just not too much to say about it. They were just regular people. There weren't really that much this development with them. They were just we're just following their everyday lives, doing regular stuff, going to school, talking about random stuff. I don't know, smoking weed or whatever they were smoking. I don't know. There's not too much to say about it. But yeah, just overall, I did think this was a solid movie. I did like it. I didn't think it was great. As far as like comparing it to other horror slash slasher movies that we've gotten in the future, like while it did pave the way for certain things, I think there are other slasher films that like built on top of that and made things better. This one, I think it's a good starting off point for the slasher genre, I think. And Michael Myers, I think he's a pretty good, slasher villain, as far as a horror icon. I think he works for what they were going for. But like, I don't know. I just wish there was more with, his development. I wish there was more connections between Myers and Laurie, and especially between Myers and Loomis, especially because he's the doctor, and he was his client at the insane asylum. I wish there was more, connections with that. I wish they built more urgency, in the first hour of the movie because it felt like there was not a lot going on. And I tried to be as patient as I could with the movie, and it's like I don't need everything to go like 100 miles an hour in every movie, but just like I don't know, I just wish they did more to just show how urgent the matter is with this this killer in a mask going around killing people in town. Like there should be more urgency there. And it did kind of confuse me that Loomis never really warned the town of Michael Myers. He didn't want the police to like do a search warrant on the town, and like I don't understand why he didn't allow that to happen. If there's a serial killer running around killing people, he's out on the loose and nobody knows where he is. Like I think that should be justified for them to do a search warrant. I don't know why Loomis didn't want the police to do that. Like, yeah, there's some dim-witted stuff like that, and also stuff like how Laurie, when he's stabbing Michael, like he doesn't make sure that he's dead. Like if it were me, if I had the knife in my hand and I was, trying to kill Michael, I would stab him numerous times to make sure that he's down. But then again, that's a mystery of Michael Myers that they leave out there that they don't fully explore because Loomis shoots him numerous times in the chest and he falls off of a two-story house and he's apparently fine. So that's another mystery I want to know. Is Michael Myers human? Is he inhuman? Is he like, I don't know, is he supernatural? That's one of the biggest mysteries we have of the Halloween franchise that we still don't know that much about to this day, which I'll get into more as we cover the rest of the sequels. But yeah, that's overall my thoughts. I'm gonna give Halloween 1978. I'm gonna give it a B minus. Yeah, that's how I'm feeling right now. Like it's good, but I don't think it's great. But that's my thoughts on Halloween 1978. What did you guys think about it? Did you guys love it? Did you guys hate it? Did you guys think it was okay? Is this one of your favorite horror franchises of all time? This one of your favorite Halloween films of all time? Is Michael Myers one of your favorite horror icons of all time? Comment your thoughts down below and let me know. So the next film I will be covering is Halloween 2018. So tune in for that when it comes out. But if you guys enjoyed this review, please don't forget to leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And please hit the bell if you want to be notified on future videos I'll be doing. But that's all I have for you Halloween fans, and I will see you guys next time. Talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.